Get our acceleration here. Woo! Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the most expensive Grand Cherokee money can buy. And yes, I understand that the Trackhawk is actually more expensive than this, but you can't buy a new Trackhawk anymore, so this is officially currently the most expensive Grand Cherokee. Anyways, a huge shout out, thank you to the Larch Miller Jeep Chrysler here in Sandy, Utah, for giving me some time with this Grand Cherokee. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And by the way, this one is available for sale if you're interested. And then on a side note, if you can save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 5.7 liter Hemi V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 14 around town and then 22 on the highway, with power outputs being about 360 horsepower and then 390 pound-feet of torque. Before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now, going over the hood, it's actually pretty simplistic with the design. It's just flat in the center and then kind of slightly goes off on either side, but simplicity is king when it comes to luxury vehicles, if you ask me. Jeep logo there in the center, and then there is actually some clear bra protection here, it looks like. Now, this has the high altitude package, so the whole front grille has been darkened and then everything down below has been blacked out. You got your fog light there, and then you guys can see there with the LED headlamp with the daytime running light. It looks great. When you take it all in together, this definitely has a cool, aggressive appearance. And speaking of Trackhawks, coming around the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 275, 45, 21 in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you guys can see here with the wheel design, again, it's darker because of this high altitude package, but pretty complex looking, but also I think it just looks fantastic. Now, this does come with air suspension as standard. Pretty flush fender flares there that are body painted, and then you've got your darkened Grand Cherokee badge and then side steps down below. And then when you put it all together, this definitely has a very distinctive appearance on the outside. I think it looks really good because you've got the roof that's blacked out, the mirror caps that are blacked out, the wheels that are darker, and then the bottom portion in silver. Yeah, just hits the spot. Now we've got our key fob here, Jeep logo there on the back. We have our unlock, lock function, remote start, and then the opening for the hatch. Now, because this is an L, it has a third row. You still have a decent amount of storage space behind the third row, but if you want a ton of storage space, you got to put those seats down. And speaking of putting those seats down, it's simple. You just press those buttons and those puppies will, well, ever so slowly fold down. And as you can see now, the storage space is a lot larger. More storage space underneath the loading floor here on the back of the L, and then just press that button and that will lower the hatch right back down. I do really like the taillights here on the L. As you can see, super distinctive. You've got the Jeep badge there in the center, and then Summit badge down below, and then your L badge as well. And then again, that black roof comes to the back, which looks really good. You've got the dual outlet exhaust setup, parking sensors on the rear, and again, overall, this is just a good looking vehicle on the outside. This is where things get real fancy. So we have our sunshade here for the rear passengers, and we got leather trim here at the top. We've got wood trim down below, and you got that silver trim right there. And then look at the quilted design, and the stitching and everything continues all the way to the bottom. Automatic for the window. You got door lock and unlock, and then some speakers for that Macintosh sound system. The seats here in the rear are also beautiful. We've got really nice piping here. Notice perforated leather in the center, and you got that quilted design on either side, and then you have adjustments for the seats there on top of it. Legroom for the second row is fantastic, and we got little storage cubby. Headroom is also really good. We do have our own climate zone here for the rear for either passenger, actually, so quad climate system here. We also have heated and cooled seats. We've got some vents, and then we have all of our charging ports right there. A couple cup holders here with some extra storage, and then we do have a center console in the back with some nice leather trim on the armrest. Legroom here in the third row is pretty decent, and then you've got that latch there on the top of the second row seat to pull it forward to access the third row from there. Headroom is actually also really good. Now, this has this like squishy material on the armrest, definitely not leather trim, but it's better than hard touch plastic like you'll see in a lot of other third row SUVs. Got some USB ports and a cup holder. I almost forgot to mention, these seats are just as nice as the seats in the second row with the leather, you know, perforated, quilted design, all that. The front door panel is identical to the rear with the design and the material use, so we're not going to focus too much on that. All of our window controls, again, all of them are automatic. You got door lock and unlock, mirror adjustment. The mirrors do power fold in. We've got memory seats, massaging seats, and the mirrors have blind spot monitoring. Really beautiful design here with the front seats, and again, notice perforated all down the center, and then you can see here with the quilted design, and then all of our power adjustments on the side, and then look at that Summit logo. Now, normal pedals, which I do think is a slight missed opportunity, and then we've got our parking brake right there, light controls with the fog light, and then again, more of the stitching, and then look at the fit and finish with all the wood trim and everything. Looks really cool. Really nice leather trim all around the steering wheel with our contrasted stitching there on the center portion. Then you got this darker trim at the bottom with our wood trim. Even the airbag cover has nice stitching on it. This does have adaptive cruise control as well as regular cruise control. With the adaptive cruise control, it has steering assist where you just have to have your hand lightly on the steering wheel. Paddle shifters here on the back with radio controls down below. Controls for the center stack, phone controls, and then turn signal stock, windshield wiper stock. Full digital gauge cluster here in the center. You can scroll through different menus, see different bits of info on the vehicle. Pretty standard stuff. I do like how it goes like mini format when you scroll through the menus themselves. We also do have some different drive modes. So we have a sport. Notice it changes the gauge cluster. Auto, snow, mud, sand, and then there's the rock mode. Mud and sand is one mode, by the way. Beautiful leather dash here with the contrasted stitching, and it extends all the way to the far reaches, and you can see that for the little Macintosh sound system. Got this for the lane departure, turn that off, stability control, hazard lights, parking sensors, your parking assist, and then this is to turn on the passenger screen, which lets you have like a second infotainment system for the passenger, mostly to control stuff with the music. We have a full 360 camera system, trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel, and, well, a bunch of different camera views that you can pop through. Notice the zoom function, and you even have like an off-road front camera view, which is pretty sweet. As for the rest of the infotainment system, response time is great. You do have a shortcut bar here on the bottom, which lets you scroll through the different screens. You can control the climate zone here from the front. Again, heated and cooled seats here for the front passengers as well. But we actually have analog controls for like the radio, the heated and cooled seats, the climate system, all down below. And then we have this little tab that covers up our charging area with some USBs and then a wireless phone charging pad. We've got our dial shifter here for the Grand Cherokee, our drive mode select, and then you can see our auto hold, your four-wheel low. You have to go into neutral to put it in four-wheel low. This is to adjust that air suspension, your hill descent control, and then your true neutral. Couple of cup holders there with that blacked out trim, and then look at the leather trim here on top of the center console, which is decent storage space. And then got a pretty normal glove box right there, and then yeah, look at all the stitching and everything on the dash. We of course have the camera mirror system, which I'm a huge fan of, and then we do have a full panoramic sunroof here with our controls for the sunroof just right there. This is not going to pop up in the camera very well, but we do have a nice premium headliner. It's also on the pillars, as you can see. So again, this is a Summit Reserve, base MSRP $63,675, and of course this has some optional equipment added to it. And so after all options on this one, including the high altitude package and the 5.7 Hemi V8, $79,145. Let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood. Hope you can now see the heads-up display. Both the mirrors, which you can do with blind spot monitoring. Then throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. We're setting off in this Grand Cherokee L with the 5.7 Hemi V8. Which, yeah, it's a very hard engine to find right now because, you know, they're going towards the V6 and 4xe route with the Grand Cherokees. But anyways, first thing to mention, sounds great, really torquey. And seat comfort's amazing. I'm getting a massage right now. Like, I am living in the life of luxury with this. And this is something so impressive about this new Grand Cherokee is it really is such a good luxury vehicle. Again, it's still super capable off-road because you've got the air suspension. We can raise it up to have crazy amounts of ground clearance. But the air suspension also makes this really comfortable when it comes to ride quality. And so it really does do both, which is great. Steering's good. It's pretty light and direct as well. And yeah, ride comfort's amazing. The only thing that I guess I could knock this for a little bit compared to some of the, you know, really expensive luxury cars that I've reviewed is there is a little bit more road noise with this than what you'd get in like, you know, like a $150,000, $200,000 Range Rover, for example. But again, this is, you know, a lot less money, so you can definitely forgive it for that aspect. But aside from that, really, just really comfortable cabin. And when you just like sit in here, you really do feel like you're in a luxury vehicle. Like the material use is there, the fit and finish is there. Like there's no like weird, you know, like rattling. Like everything feels really solid, really well built. And pop it into sport mode, instantly downshifts for us. Their acceleration here. Woo! Gotta love that Hemi. Gotta love that Hemi. Man, this thing gets up and moves, let me tell you. Yeah, it's a blast. So I just put it back in auto. The air suspension is automatically raising it back up. It's a really quick, seamless system. So summing things up here with this Summit Reserve with pretty much every single option. The only thing this doesn't have, I think, is like TVs in the back, but yeah, negligible. I think it looks great, the high altitude package. This is how I would order it out. If I'm gonna order out a Grand Cherokee, it's gonna have the altitude or high altitude package, because yeah, I love the sporty look with this. The Grand Cherokee definitely looks better when it's kind of like all, you know, blacked out versus when it's not, especially when you get it in like a silver like this. And then with the Summit Reserve, here's the deal. If you just want the luxury features, then you can get an Overland or a regular Summit and you'll get like a lot of the luxury features this has. The reason you go for the Summit Reserve is to get like the extra stitching, you know, it's just that extra little bit, the extra 5 or 10%, right? And so yeah, really nice luxury vehicle. I will say luxury vehicle with this. And so I feel like this is a really good alternative to something from a traditional luxury manufacturer like BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Land Rover, all that. But again, you are not having to pay nearly as much money for this, but you're getting like 90 to 95% of the experience with those vehicles in this, but at a fraction of the cost. That's gonna sum things up with our video on this Grand Cherokee. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Schmiller Jeep Cresta here in Sandy, Utah for giving me some time with this Grand Cherokee. Check out the info in the description down below. I'll see you.